Thanks, everyone, for tuning in and joining us for today's episode of The Capitalist Investor. You got Markets guy Mark and Diamond Hands Derek.
Diamond Hands Derek has stuck.
That's sticking forever.
Yeah, my friends are calling me that now.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's good. I like it. You do have diamond hands, man. Yeah. You know, buy, you hold, you don't sell.
Definitely not a paper hand
You hold
guy.
on to your losers. You refuse to sell them, you know. That's all good. By the way, GameStop again, dude.
I know,
They're
it's crazy.
back at it again.
It's crazy.
Unbelievable, man. As if they didn't cry enough the first time.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, the Johnny-come-latelys, they're going to pile in late. It's basically a legal Ponzi scheme, if you think about it, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you got people, if you got in early and you have paper hands and you get out early,
right,
you make money. Mm-hmm. When you get in late in a Ponzi scheme, you lose all your money.
It's all gone.
You know? So
it's holding in there today, though. We'll see.
So let's kind of go with like the opposite of the Reddit GameStop trade. And let's talk about the man, the myth, the legend himself, Warren Buffett.
Oh, yeah.
Who has been making a lot of portfolio moves. And we did a show on Warren, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago when Dave Portnoy called him washed up.
Right.
And Dave Portnoy said he's the new captain.
The guy's
And
hilarious.
from an entertainment standpoint, he is the new captain.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the man. Mm-hmm. Did you happen to hear him laying into Vlad from Robinhood?
I did, yeah.
That was good. Mm-hmm. There were a couple points where I disagreed with Dave a little bit, but overall, man, like someone's got to hold that dude's feet to the fire.
No doubt.
So I thought it was pretty good. All right, man. So let's get into. There's been it looks like 21 portfolio moves. Warren Buffett sold 11 stocks, bought 10. We're not going to dissect 21 different moves. I saw some big themes here. Mm-hmm. So let's kind of run through them, Derek. I'll let you kind of take the lead.
All right. So we'll go through the sells first, but before we dive in, I think is Warren Buffett like 90 years old?
Probably.
Yeah,
right
I think
around
I
there.
saw 90. Like, are you still going to be working when you're 90?
No.
It seems,
dude, if I was as good of a stock picker as he is, I wouldn't be working right now. I'd be sitting on a beach somewhere.
I know, man. I mean, you can trade stocks on the beach too. It seems odd.
Yeah.
But God bless him. He's still going. So let's go through some of these moves. The sells are first. So I don't think we need to comment on all of them, but I have a couple sells and a couple buys that kind of caught my attention.
I can probably knock out half of the sells by saying it looks like he unloaded most of his banks.
Yeah, right? I think that's a good way to do it. So he's got, U.S. Bancorp and 2 or 3 others as I go through the list here. I think the best way to probably go through this is to kind of talk about his themes.
Yeah.
It's I think very applicable to people listening because the things that he is doing in these moves, he is, like we just said, he's not just going to hold on to all of these stocks forever. He's not emotionally attached.
Yeah.
So he's going to rotate out of the sectors that he thinks are kind of the long in the tooth, if you will. He's going to trim some of his winners, which I think is also very important.
Heck yeah, dude.
And then he's going to get into some new positions.
Right.
So especially now as we sit here, there's going to be a lot of movement as we hopefully come out of coronavirus. I think the reopening trade, as everyone likes to say, is pretty much that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
So where are we going to go from here? How fast is the economy going to open? And what themes can you play on?
Yeah, one of the most interesting takeaways I had is when you look at his sells and his additions, he didn't add any quote-unquote new economy stocks. Mm-hmm. He didn't add any of no work from home stuff, no workout at home. Like that was maybe I shouldn't be surprised because that's just Warren's investment philosophy, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I just put one of his quotes out on Twitter, something along the lines of, why would I jump over 7-foot poles or whatever when I can just step over a 1-foot pole? Right? Like and he's always said like he wants to invest in companies that he understands. Right? And maybe he's never used the internet. I don't know. Maybe he hasn't.
He's definitely got a flip phone. I can almost guarantee that.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. The great thing about him is his favorite steakhouse, I forget the name of it, but I looked it up recently. The most expensive steak on the menu is like $41. Mm-hmm. And that just shows you, like, the dude's crazy. He's orca whale rich, you know? But he eats at just a middle of the road steakhouse.
He
That's
lives
his favorite
a very
restaurant.
moderate lifestyle.
Well, that's how you gain wealth, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's get into these, man.
Yeah, so sell number 2 was Apple. You know, this is one I kind of wanted to highlight. There's a quote in this article. Again, you know, if you want to check it out, it's on Kiplinger. I think I'm going to go with that as the pronunciation.
Let's just keep changing it for every episode.
I'm going to go
Kiplinger.
Kiplinger.
Next episode
on
will be
this one.
Kiplinger.
Yep.
All right.
So Apple was his number 2 sell. You know, this is a trim. You know, he just took 6% or so off of the table. Warren Buffett's been on record many times saying that he feels like Apple is like the third part of his company because he owns so much.
Yeah.
But, you know, as the price keeps going up and up and up and up, pretty good lesson here. You know, trim some of the winnings and get into some new stuff.
That stock has tripled since January of 2019.
Yep.
It's tripled. Now, what did Apple do that deserved a triple? They came out with another phone? I mean, what did they do? So I love the fact that he trimmed it. That is taking profits. That's being smart about managing risk and managing. Dude, Apple's a 40% position for him.
Right.
40%. Good. I'm glad he trimmed his stake a little bit. That's way too much to have in one stock. And he got, I wouldn't say he got lucky because the dude's risks are always calculated.
Right.
So I'm not going to say he got lucky, but he got it. His timing was great. He got in at the right time. He got in at a time when Apple wasn't doing anything fantastic.
Right.
They weren't really coming out with any new innovative products, but suddenly the investing world no longer viewed them as a hardware company.
Right.
And gave them a hardware multiple. It started to view them as a consumer goods or consumer products company. And if you think about it, it really is. I mean, it's you have to have your phone.
Right.
Right? So it's now it's more valued almost like a consumer staple. Because it kind of is a consumer staple. It's a very expensive one.
Yep.
I think they intentionally kill our batteries after about a year or two, so you buy the new phone.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me started on that one. I buy the new phone as soon as it comes out. The year that I decided not to do that, because I didn't think the 12 was really that great compared to what I had.
Yeah.
My battery immediately started to not last the full
dude.
day.
Big Brother's watching.
Like almost immediately.
They knew. They expected you to buy.
It's crazy.
So Apple, like I get that. I respect that. We own Apple, but we're underweight Apple.
Yep.
Apple's probably like a 6% weighting in the S&P 500. It is the biggest company in the world. We don't hold it at 6%. We probably have it 3% or something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say between 3 and 4.
We're definitely underweight Apple. I think the easy money's been made in Apple.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
Totally.
They've made a lot of dumb, boneheaded decisions. I think we may have talked about this on a recent show, but in 2017, when Tesla was struggling, when they had Model 3 production issues and they were on the ropes about to get knocked out, Elon Musk wanted to sell to Apple.
Right.
He called Tim Cook, and Tim Cook refused to take his call.
Yeah, he didn't even get a meeting.
Not even a yeah. And then now all of a sudden there's talks of Apple coming out with their own EV.
Yeah, some pretty serious talks, it sounds like.
Dude, you had the opportunity and you wouldn't even take the call.
Yep.
So, all right. So I like the trimming of Apple. He sold a bunch of banks, dude. U.S. Bank, Wells Fargo. What else did I see on here? Did he sell
JP
GM?
Morgan. He sold GM as well.
Right before the run-up.
Yep.
GM and Ford are outperforming Tesla this year.
Right.
When is the last time that happened?
Can't think of it, but it's been a while.
Exactly. So his timing on that exit probably wasn't the best.
Ford and GM, from a value standpoint, seemed like a pretty good deal right now.
Yeah.
That seems like it would be something up Warren Buffett's alley there. JP Morgan Chase is another one he sold. So he basically completely, well, I don't want to say completely because I don't know the back end, but he did some major trimming of all his bank positions.
Dude, and it looks like, so he fully exited JP Morgan Chase. Yep. Did he fully exit? No, he just reduced his stake in Wells Fargo. That's surprising. That's the one I would have exited before JP Morgan Chase. But I'm not Warren Buffett. I'm just Mark Tepper, and I don't have the pedigree that guy has, so who am I?
And he completely sold PNC Bank as well.
Okay.
Completely exited.
Okay. All right. He also got out of Pfizer.
Yep. That was the last one on the sells that I wanted to talk about.
Which is interesting. Oh, and he got out of PNC, another bank. So he got out of Pfizer. I don't want to fast forward too far, but if we do fast forward to his buys, he loaded up on healthcare.
Right.
So it's curious to me that he bailed on Pfizer. So he must know something we don't know, because I believe he added Merck.
Yep.
Aren't they like the same company? Pfizer and Merck?
Yep.
Like they do the same stuff. All right, so you bailed on Pfizer, picked up Merck. What's your take on the stuff he sold, or maybe Pfizer in particular?
I came to the same conclusion you did on Pfizer. It didn't seem to fit, especially when he came through the buys. So I'm assuming, just like you, that he kind of knows something specific to their business line that we're not going to get at the 10,000-foot view. But I thought it was interesting for sure. I think my conclusion on his overall sells were kind of just what I laid out at the top. Everyone should be, because I get this question a lot. Everyone really needs to not be that set it and forget it type of investor. Yep. There are definitely, themes that you'll keep in your portfolio for a long time. But as we come out of the pandemic, hopefully, as things start to reopen, hopefully, I keep saying that, because every time things look good, then it seems to go the other way. But we're going to be entering a period here, and we've already started to see it, in my opinion, in the last couple of weeks, where picking stocks versus riding along in an index is going to get you much further along.
Way further along. For probably a decade, coming out of the Great Recession, nobody needed us active investors.
Right.
You take the Vanguard approach, you throw your money in an index, and everyone did the same. Mm-hmm. Now you need us.
For sure.
Things have changed.
Yep.
And the world is substantially different, and it's going to be different for a long time. And we're in a period right now, D, where this earnings season is pretty much wrapping up. It's almost over. I think like 85% of companies have reported, or maybe even 90% by now. Mm-hmm. Very, very solid earnings season. A lot of people expected earnings to drop 10% year over year. It looks like they're going to be up about 5% year over year. But the overarching theme, as I see it, is every single company was given a free pass last year.
Right.
No one had to provide guidance. Mm-hmm. So then these analysts set these ridiculously low bars, and everyone blew through them.
Right.
That is changing. Yeah. Now you have to provide guidance. Mm-hmm. And I know that because I can think of 3 of our holdings that had blowout quarters that didn't provide guidance, and they got whacked.
Crushed.
Whacked,
yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you have to provide guidance. Investors want that visibility. And that's why I kind of went off on a tangent there, but I want to get back to that's why you need to be picking the right stocks. Right? This is definitely a stock picker's market where there are going to be winners and losers. Mm-hmm. And obviously, from what I've seen so far, Warren Buffett does not think his banks that he held are going to be winners. Right?
And I think that's a good segue into his buys, into key themes that we like. The first one on the list is something that I like because it hits multiple themes. It's restoration hardware. Have you ever been in one of these restoration hardwares?
I have not. Are they around us?
There's one in Legacy Village on the east side. I think it's still. I haven't been over there in a while. I hope it's still there. I'm sure it is.
Can't you buy all this stuff on Amazon and have it delivered to your front porch?
You could, yes.
Then I have no interest in going there.
Yep, including beds and couches and all that stuff. But
leave it on the porch, man.
So Restoration Hardware, they're a very high-end furniture store is pretty much the easiest way to say it. Yeah. They do just a little bit more than that. They do like fixtures and bathroom like vanities and things like that, all with reclaimed wood.
Okay.
And it's very expensive.
Yeah.
I'd have to sell a kidney to, put my whole house in this stuff. But look at all the themes.
High end.
Very
high end.
So, a lot of people may not realize that the upper and middle upper class throughout this pandemic, their wages actually increased as a whole. So I like that for a high-end store. Just working with my clients, a lot of people retire and then they move, they downsize. And in that downsizing, it costs them, $150,000 more than the house that they were in. But then they have to furnish the whole house. And I've had this conversation recently with 3 clients. And it's like, hey, Derek, I totally forgot, how expensive it was to put furniture.
Crazy expensive.
It's crazy.
Well, you recently built a house. I recently built a house. It's expensive, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You better budget that in.
You better budget it in because it's not good to run out of money and have no furniture.
Is there a rule of thumb that like furnishing your house is like 10, 20% of the value of the home typically? It's got to be in that range, like 10 to 20%.
Yeah,
easily. To fully furnish a house, right?
Yep. Because if you spend $500,000 on a house,
you can easily spend 50 to 100 on furniture.
Easily.
Yeah.
Yep. And this stuff is high end, so I like the home builders as well. This kind of ties right into that, right? You build a new house.
And people are, everyone's outlook on their home has changed.
Right.
Everyone, if you're locked in your house, you want it to be a heck of a lot nicer. And we saw the housing craze happen throughout 2020. Mm-hmm. But for us here in ice cold Cleveland, things were different in 2020 in that the lockdown really didn't start until St. Patty's Day. Mm-hmm. So in January, February, and the first half of March last year, which, by the way, if you don't live in Cleveland, those are the worst 2.5 months of the year. Specifically February.
Yep.
And we talk about this every episode, D, how much we hate our lives in February.
No question.
But last year we had a free pass. Mm-hmm. We weren't able to live our lives and go to places. Mm-hmm. Now there's nowhere to go, dude.
Right.
So I think this housing craze is going to continue.
I completely agree with you.
I don't think it's over. I don't think everyone's bought all the stuff they need for their houses. They're even more miserable this winter than they were last winter.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. So let's keep going through the list. I'm just going to go through the buys here.
Yeah.
And Mark, why don't you just chime in if you want to talk about any, because the last one on the list is my second one I want to talk about. But next buy, added to the stake, Bristol, Meyer, Squibb.
I love them. Yeah, big player in cancer.
Yep.
Right. And COVID was the C word in 2020. It's still the C word in 2021. But once we get past it, which it looks like we are, because hospitalizations are coming way down as vaccines are being administered.
Yep.
Once we get past it, the C word will be cancer again. Mm-hmm. Cancer, diabetes, your hip replacement that you postponed, like all that stuff comes back.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That'll be front and center. So I like the Bristol Myers play.
Yep. Next one we talked about is Merck.
Yep.
So pretty big addition, up 28% from his third quarter holdings.
He must know something we don't know. They must have the magical treatment for COVID or something, and Pfizer didn't. Pfizer just had the vaccine.
Mm-hmm. Kroger next on the list.
About as boring as you can get.
Yep.
Your local grocery store,
yep.
right? Consumer staple, right?
T-Mobile.
Why?
That's a question mark for me because the last one on the list.
T-Mobile is like what? Like the 5th rated cell phone carrier?
Yep.
Like, why? Why that? Like, that doesn't seem consistent. That's something that we might buy.
Right.
If we thought like there was huge upside potential. That doesn't seem like a Warren Buffett holding. I would expect him to own AT&T or Verizon.
Right. Well, he did buy Verizon, and that's the one that I like at the end. But the only thing I can think of with that one, honestly, is value, right? He's the value investor.
Yeah.
He must think it's at a good price right now.
Mm-hmm.
When everything, let's face it, is super duper expensive.
Value matters? Valuations matter?
To Warren Buffett, I'm sure they still
guess,
do.
yeah.
It seems like
It don't matter to anyone else.
The investing world seemed to pretty much forgot it.
Everyone else just cares about potential, total addressable market, right? Weird.
Yep.
Marcia McLennan, an insurance company.
Yep. That was a...
Insurance is also about as boring as it gets.
Yep.
You know?
Chevron. This is...
That's a good move on his part.
Yeah. I like that one.
His timing on that was pretty darn good. Mm-hmm. Now, I still don't like energy plays in the long run.
Right.
But from a trade perspective, he made some quick money on that one.
No doubt about it. And that's the last big gas company on the S&P 500. That's pretty crazy to think about.
Are you serious? Mm-hmm. Wow. How the world has changed and how it's going to continue to change.
Right.
You know? EVs, what are EVs? Like maybe 3% of total vehicle sales right now, electric vehicles?
Yeah.
And I want to say by 2040, most people are expecting EVs to be 70%. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot of stuff that has to happen in order for that to occur. Mm-hmm. Like you got to build out the infrastructure, the charging stations, all that stuff. So it is a process. Oil is not going to go away anytime soon,
right.
You know. But at some point, you know, the EVs are the future, right?
Mm-hmm. So, you know, as Tesla learned this week, others are starting to catch up. So,
yeah.
That the Ford and the GM, they've been down for a while. They're just not going to go away quietly, and then they've invested a lot of money into that as well.
Yeah, I mean, Tesla's years ahead of everyone else. Yes, other people are catching up, but dude, Tesla, they're coming out with this Plaid Plus, which I ordered, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. It's like 1,000 horsepower. It goes 0 to 60. All they will tell you is less than 2 seconds. Less.
Have you ever ridden in a Tesla?
I have not.
With the ludicrous speed or
not.
whatever?
It was just $1,000 down. If I change my mind, I'm out $1,000. But I want to get in on this.
Yep.
You know, quite frankly, I hate going to the gas station, D.
Mm-hmm.
I'm way too type A, and I just don't have the time nor the desire. And I don't have a gas station by my house. Mm-hmm. So I literally have to get off the freeway and exit early.
Right.
To stop at a gas station. It irritates me. Mm-hmm. I'm done, dude. I'm not getting gas anymore.
If there was a charging station in our building, I probably would have a Tesla by now.
Because right now they're just commuter cars.
Right.
So, and that's, you know, I'll just have to plug mine in every night. Mm-hmm. Assuming I get it.
Yep.
But yeah, that car's a monster, dude.
But yeah, I test drove one, and I got in one with the ludicrous speed.
Yeah.
It's like the beginning of a roller coaster at Cedar Point. It's insane.
What's that real, what the heck is the name of that roller coaster at Cedar Point that's honestly 3 seconds long?
Top Thrill
Dragster. That thing's amazing.
Yeah.
That's the best 3 seconds of your life. Right? God. For those of you who are not from Ohio, you have to, I mean, Cedar Point's by far the best amusement park
no doubt.
in the world, right?
Yep.
You got to come check it out. Top Thrill Dragster. I don't care if you have to wait in line for 2 hours, which you probably don't have to do anymore with COVID.
I would think not, but I will never know.
I know. I don't like waiting in lines.
I hate waiting in lines.
You got to get the Fast Pass.
When I went
That
to
is the best investment you can make in life.
Universal, they have, like, you can pay double for your ticket, but you get into the Fast Pass line basically on every single ride. Dude, it was amazing.
That's capitalism right there. I love it, dude.
Amazing.
Love it.
Yep.
All right, man. So final takeaways. Let me just ask you this, dude. Does anyone care what Warren Buffett's buying or selling anymore?
That is an interesting question. It really is. You know, I feel like even when LeBron was in Cleveland and Warren Buffett would go to some of the games. Did you ever see Warren at any of the Cavs games?
No, did you?
I was there for one. It was pretty cool. But so this is, 3-4 years ago. Even then, I feel like he was still front and center as the guy.
Yeah.
And in the last 2 years, it seems to just kind of have faded away a little bit.
I mean, you hear more people are obsessed with knowing what David Tepper's doing with his money at Appaloosa, which I think that's just family office now, right?
Yeah.
Now that he owns the Panthers.
Right.
Michael Burry Christian Bale from The Big Short,
Right, mhm.
right? Like the guy who got into the mortgage thing like way too early, but he still made money.
Right.
Which, by the way, typically being early is the same as being wrong on trades, right? Yep. So look, I love tracking Warren Buffett because he's a legend. I don't think people like necessarily look at his moves and say, I need to go and do the same thing in my portfolio. Because, he hasn't shown, again, my big takeaway from this, D, is like he didn't buy any new economy stocks.
Nothing at all.
Nothing new economy. Like there was no, now he did invest in Snowflake last year, which was an IPO, which was totally not his style.
Right.
But I wanted to see more of that. I wanted to see more of him buying Zoom or a Peloton or something. Now, his argument is probably going to be it's overvalued. And my response to that is, well, I don't even know how to pronounce the guy's name from NYU, Aswath Damodaran,
Yeah.
Dean of
That was
Valuation.
pretty good, I think.
Thank you. I like following him because he realizes there's a ton of different ways to value a company. Right. And I don't know. Maybe Warren doesn't incorporate any of those ways. He just has his one way, which has worked very, very well for 1 billion years.
Yep.
And he does what he knows. Right.
Yep.
But like we already talked about, if I was him, I would be sitting underneath the palm tree.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So all right, man, good stuff. I'm glad that even though I'm not going to go out and track Warren's trades and do the same thing as him, I'm glad the dude's still around.
Absolutely.
He's a legend, and I'm glad we can have conversations like this about him. And I'm glad we can kind of sort of criticize the guy, because he's not perfect.
Yep.
He's not perfect.
Not.
He makes mistakes too, and I love that. He's just a very humble, down to earth dude. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining us as always. Shoot us an email if you have questions, info@swpconnect.com. Go to our website, check out the show notes, check out the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, and if you leave us a 5-star review, that would be awesome. Just leave us that review, shoot us an email, and we'll send you a swaggity swag package.
Swag pack is where it's at.
Swaggity swag. Now, look, man, it's springtime almost. At least wishful thinking. It's almost springtime because I'm done. I need to thaw out, dude. I'm frozen to the bone. So we need to upgrade our springtime swag package.
Yeah, I think maybe some golf stuff would be in order.
Ooh, I like it.
Yep.
All right. Well, you'll never know until you leave us a 5-star review.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you next week.